That is something that kind of drives me as far as when I do my photography, because I'm looking at things, okay, here is something that as it appears today, it may not appear that way 5, 6, 7 years from now.
Yeah.
Or even 20 years. So.
Coming to you straight from Fremont, California, this is the Fremont Podcast, dedicated to telling the stories of the past and present of the people and places of the city of Fremont, one conversation at a time.
Hello, Fremont. This is Ford. You are listening to episode 81 of the Fremont Podcast.
Now, here's your host, Ricky B. So Scott Capen, is that how you say the name?
Capen.
Scott Capen.
Yeah.
Okay. You are a photographer. I can't remember what event it was, but you were doing an event over at the...
Room Redux.
Oh, Room Redux. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Room Redux. That's what it was. Yeah. Well, I heard about you long before that, because
my reputation precedes me.
It does. I kind of got this feeling you were kind of like the Ansel Adams of Fremont or something like that. I remember.
Well, that's quite a compliment, actually.
when I did the I think it was the Olive Hide Guild.
Right.
They were talking about photos that you, when we were talking about different artists that would put their stuff up in the Olive Hide Guild. They mentioned photographers, and you were the only name as a photographer that was mentioned, and it was mentioned in such a way that was to indicate that you were probably like the preeminent photographer in Fremont. So so that's where I was like, I got to meet this guy.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm the preeminent photographer in Fremont. I know that there are plenty of other great photographers in Fremont and around Fremont.
Yeah.
I'm very much involved with the Olive Hide Gallery. I'm actually just recently came into being vice president of the board for the Olive Hide Gallery just this past week or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I like working with the gallery and just being around artists, really. I mean, it's a lot of fun and it's just a great asset for Fremont to have, because you see some beautiful things come through that gallery. It's just amazing, some of the works that come through.
That's awesome. When did you get started in photography? Is this something you've done for a long time?
Yeah, more or less, pretty much as long as I can remember. I had a Brownie camera, and this is actually on my website, but I had a Brownie camera when I was young that it didn't belong to me. It probably belonged to my sister or something like that. But I remember, activating the shutter and taking pictures of something. I don't know what I took pictures of, but I'm sure there was something there. And then I kind of fell away from it, and then I got involved in it a little bit again, and fell away from it again, mostly because back then it was all film, so it was very expensive and time-consuming to, shoot the photos you wanted, develop them. For it all.
Did you do the developing yourself, or did you just have them developed?
I didn't I had them developed. I mean, took them down to the drugstore, that kind of thing. Yeah, so, and I got away from it. But then when digital came out, it was like, oh, this makes a whole lot more sense. I mean, now you're not burning rolls of film, you're just burning pixels. And that's how I really got back into it again.
Okay.
So we're talking roughly around 2005, 6.
Okay. When did you move to Fremont?
Oh, I've been in Fremont for over 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has been you're a long-time resident here, at least in the age of...
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. For the better part of the last 30 plus years.
Yeah. I think with the way that things change and transform over time, it's accelerated quite a bit over the last 30 years, a lot faster than probably the 30 years preceding that. And so, like, you've been here for a significant multiple ages of Fremont.
Yeah, it has changed a lot. Some of it, for the better. Some of it not so much for the better.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen anywhere.
For sure.
That is something that kind of drives me as far as when I do my photography, because I'm looking at things. Okay, here is something that as it appears today, it may not appear that way 5, 6, 7 years from now.
Yeah.
Or even 20 years.
Yeah,
so.
That's interesting. I was driving down 680, headed down towards San Jose, and all of the building, the housing that's gone up there right before the Tesla plant. I was like, I mean, I've only lived here just under 9 years at this point, and I was just telling somebody that this wasn't here when I moved here. Like this was. I don't know if they'd even started clearing the land. I think they probably did, but there was none of that housing that was there. And
well,
now,
a lot of it actually was vacant land.
Yeah. Wow. I understand you to be more of a landscape photographer.
Landscape's my passion.
Is that what you?
That's my passion. Yeah.
I think I was a little surprised to find you as being an event photographer at the Room Redux. Although, I mean, I understand that there are different opportunities and different ways that we can contribute to, whether it's a nonprofit or whatever.
Well, that's one of the ways I try to give back to the area and to society in general is by doing a lot of the nonprofit events when they're doing their fundraisers and everything else, because they want people to enjoy themselves at the events. They obviously want them to contribute to their nonprofit, and having people there and taking pictures and, not your standard selfies and that kind of thing goes a lot more towards promoting that idea, here, taking your picture.
That's good.
Smile.
Yeah.
Here, pay some money. Dude, why not?
That's right. I even said that to you when because I was helping to host that Room Redux event. Mm-hmm. And I just said, when we get up there to do the presentation by Dale Hardware, can you make sure you grab that photo? And you did. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I appreciate that. So landscape photography is what you enjoy, though.
Yeah, that's my passion.
Okay. And what are some of the places, more broadly than Fremont, what are some of the places that you've enjoyed shooting over the span of your photography career?
Yeah, a couple of places really come to mind immediately. One is Antarctica. Antarctica is just an unbelievable place. And if you go to my website, actually one of the main pictures that pops up on my website immediately is a picture I took inside the Antarctic Circle.
Oh my goodness.
And it's it just blows me away. I have it blown up hanging on my wall at home.
Wow.
I just love the picture.
So when did you go there, and was it specifically for photography then?
Actually, we went there specifically because my sister-in-law wanted to see penguins in their natural habitat.
Oh, okay.
So it was my wife, my sister-in-law, and myself. And the three of us went. And when did we go there? What year was it? It was early 2001, maybe 2, something like that.
Okay.
And it was 12 days, 11 nights.
Wow. That's
crossing
awesome.
the Drake's Passage and everything else. And I have some unbelievable pictures of Antarctica that are just phenomenal. But the biggest thing I took away from Antarctica is the sense of isolation. When you're there, it's you and nature, and that's it. I mean, there's no radio signals beaming at you. There's no cell phones. None of that stuff.
Wow.
And just the people on the boat with you.
When I think of Antarctica and when I think of shooting in snow, I think of the contrast of the light and the dark, and there's a little bit of a trick to taking photos in I think in snow conditions.
Oh yeah,
where you have such a high contrast between. Yeah. So and not to get into like a bunch of technical talk about photography, but was that something that you had to get used to, or was that something that you had kind of prepared for, or in some sense was it something that you enjoyed more than maybe other landscapes that you had for that reason?
The sheer immensity of it all is immensity a word? I'm sure it is.
It is now.
It is now. If it's not, it is. But I mean, just the sheer size of things that you see, I mean, the mountains and everything else just takes your breath away right there. The time of the year that we went was actually summer down there, so it wasn't really that cold. It was chilly, yes. I mean, it was down hovering around, I think, 34 to 35 degrees most of the time when we were there. And it's daylight most of the time, so you only get really like 3 or 4 hours of actual, if you do get any darkness, it's like 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
So there's some beautiful sunset things going on.
That's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
That's awesome.
What was your original?
No, I just
question?
asked. Was it challenging to take the photos with all the contrast?
Actually, it wasn't challenging because I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in snow.
Okay.
I know what snow was all about. And it's not like I didn't have any experience with cameras before that I didn't, especially with snow. So
yeah,
it wasn't that much of an adjustment.
That's cool. What other places come to your mind when you think of some of the places you've enjoyed the most?
New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
New Zealand is absolutely stunning.
Huh.
It's basically about the same size as California, and the scenery is just amazing.
Huh. That's cool.
It's just absolutely amazing. I've been to New Zealand 3 times.
That's cool.
And I would go back there tomorrow and stay if it weren't for immigration laws there. So,
yeah, I think New Zealand's at the top of my list. My sister did one of those things on Facebook where they're like, they ask a question and expect everybody to answer, and she's like, if you were given $25,000 and a plane ticket and you had to leave tonight to go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And I said I'd go to New Zealand. I've never been there, but everything that I've seen, especially the movies that have made out of there. But I had a friend who hiked from the northern tip to the southern tip, and she was a photographer. She took some amazing photos on her trip. I can only imagine that it's just an incredible place.
It is. It's just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's very similar to the topography of California.
Okay.
But it's kind of raggedy because it's newer.
Okay.
It's not as old as the United States. So
that's cool.
It's a newer landmass.
That's cool.
We'll be right back. You can hear the rest of this conversation in just a moment.
If you're on the hunt for a realtor who will go above and beyond for you, look no further than Jennifer Petroselli at Petroselli Homes Realty Group. Jennifer's not just an expert in her field of real estate, but she's also super approachable and friendly. She makes the entire process of buying and selling your home easy and enjoyable from the beginning to the end. So if you're looking for a realtor who knows what they're doing and who genuinely cares about your needs and wants, give Jennifer Petroselli a call.
And now, back to our conversation.
What do you take around here that you enjoy the most?
Well, I spend a lot of time over here at Quarry Lakes.
Okay.
I love Quarry Lakes.
Yeah.
And it's a great vantage point to get pictures of Mission Peak, which, of course, there are millions of pictures of Mission Peak. And I still strive for the perfect one.
Right.
I came close last winter when it was actually, just covered with snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, came close there. But
what was the flaw in that one photo that you came close in?
there really wasn't a flaw, actually. It might have been a little bit clearer.
Okay.
I mean, weather-wise, it was just kind of a little bit misty out that day. But otherwise, it's a pretty damn good picture.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
In fact, I just sold a copy to a friend of mine who did it on she had me print it up on canvas.
Oh, very nice.
And and it's funny because we brought it into a group of people and they were looking at it. It's like, oh, where is that? It's right over there.
That's awesome.
That's Mission Peak. I guess you were maybe driving to work and you missed that.
That's
shot
right.
That day. That's one of the things I love about doing landscape because you may not ever see that again.
Right. I actually did so I don't know if it's still up there. So I was doing some work for Dale Hardware when they became a sponsor of our podcast, and I was doing some work for them. And that morning I drove into the lot and I was like, wait a minute. And because if you're at the perfect angle, you can see Mission Peak up behind Dale Hardware. And so I actually climbed up on top of the sign out by the road. And
did you really?
I climbed
You're
up,
that guy on the ladder.
I was. Yeah. The guy that's falling behind me. Yeah. I got up there and I held my camera up and I got a photo. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's still there, but on their, I think it was on their Facebook cover photo, there's Dale Hardware with the snow-capped mountains in the back, and I was like, I may never get this again. I mean, or at least the amount of snow that was up there at that time of day was pretty remarkable. So
there was a lot this year.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw you at Shin Park, the Shin House. I saw you there because you were teaching a workshop.
Yeah, we did a little workshop for our shooting. Actually, most people had iPhones on it. That's okay.
Yeah,
iPhones work.
Do you do a lot of workshops around the community?
This was actually the first one I had done. They had asked me to do it at the gallery, and I said, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah? How'd it go?
It went great. It
Yeah.
was great. We had a good time. People got some nice shots, and everybody was happy.
Yeah. Had you done much photography at the Shin Park before that?
Oh yeah, I've
Shin
done a
House?
lot of stuff because the gardens there are absolutely stunning, and I actually do a lot of flower photography as well.
Okay.
So the gardens are just beautiful. In fact, I've got one picture over there that I got this year that I just love this picture, and it's just a bunch of flowers. It's just gorgeous.
That's awesome. So I have a question regarding something you just mentioned, the fact that a bunch of people had iPhones. So I do know that there is, that you talk about how things transitioned from film cameras to digital, and how the digital camera kind of opened up opportunities for you that it felt a little bit more challenging, or things that you had to go through in order to develop film when you were just shooting with film. Now iPhones, smartphones have become so good in their quality that there's sometimes you can't tell the difference between a cell phone photo and a professional camera photo. I think people who know what they're looking for can see the differences in that. But so you shoot with probably a fairly nice camera. I would imagine.
A large DSLR.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what you think, your thoughts about from a photographer. How do you navigate the conversation between like smartphone photography and then the kind of camera that you shoot with? Like, what are some of the things? What are the pros and cons? What are the takeaways that are helpful for people?
The difference, it's getting more and more subtle. Because the iPhones now, I mean, the iPhone 14 Pro or whatever it is, actually has the same number of megapixel capacity that I have in my big DSLR that I use every day, and that's 45 megapixels.
Wow!
And so here's 40. If you take a 45 megapixel picture and you want to blow it up, well, you can blow it up to the size of a billboard and not lose any resolution on it.
Wow!
So to have that in the palm of your hand with an iPhone is pretty powerful. The difference really between a top grade DSLR and an iPhone is really the other little intricate things that you can do with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, for instance, like Sony or Canon, what have you. There's things that you can do with those adjustments. You can make adjustments to get the kind of image that you're looking at, make the picture you want to make.
Yeah.
Whereas the iPhone doesn't really have those kind of things built in yet. I do have to say Apple has come a long way with their software that you can use to process iPhones, even just on the phone itself.
Yeah.
But even on the computer, their software is incredibly versatile.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You can do a lot of stuff with it. So you can make the image you want, even though it's not the image that you originally got out of your camera.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's good. The thing that annoys me probably more than anything about iPhones is people, like I do a lot of landscape photography, and what bugs me is people at a very beautiful place just turning their back to the scene and taking selfies of themselves at that scene. It's like, you're missing the point. Yeah, you're looking at yourself, but what about this beautiful scenery behind you?
Yeah.
And that just disturbs me.
Yeah. Does that disturb you as a photographer, as a landscaper, or just as a human?
As a human being, yeah. Disturbs me. It's like, pay attention to what's around you. The world's a beautiful place. Look at it.
I have had similar, maybe not the exact same way, but I've had similar thoughts regarding selfies in certain places. And I've had this idea of creating a Instagram account where it's just me taking a photo. Like, so let's just say, like, I was just at Multnomah Falls in Oregon, right? So I'm taking a picture of Multnomah Falls, but instead I have it facing me. So it actually is just a photo of me taking a photo of Multnomah Falls. So it's like, here I am at Multnomah Falls. It's a beautiful, but the photo is actually just of me. And I just to emphasize the fact that people are going places to, in some sense, to show that they're there or to accent their presence there, as opposed to just taking in what's actually there for,
and
for
I
that
think,
moment.
I think, I don't want to name it. Well, I guess I can name names. I mean, I think Facebook is largely responsible for that because people want to get on Facebook and say, "Hey, this is where I was today. Hey, isn't that great?" Like, I don't care where you are today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So what are some of the things that maybe you anticipate doing as a photographer? Obviously, if you had the green light to go to New Zealand for the rest of your life, you'd do that. But let's just say you stick around here. What are some of the things that you want to capture? I know you said that there's so many things in transition and changing over time to kind of capture things in the moment where they are right now. But what are some of the other things that you look forward to doing?
Well, California's a big state, and I've been out here for, like I said, over 30 years, and I still haven't seen it all. And I'd like to finish covering the state. In fact, my wife and I are going to be taking a trip very soon to cover the northern part of California, so like from around Eureka all the way up the coast into Oregon. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna do that trip up there, and then circle around and come back down through 5 and do some things.
That's great.
Kind of just get out of Dodge for a while.
That's great.
So we're gonna do that, and like San Diego, I had been here for so long, and I had never been to San Diego, and finally I said, well, okay, for my 60th birthday, I'm going to San Diego. So I went to San Diego for my 60th birthday, and practically been there every year since then. And I'll be back in San Diego again in September. So, what are the other thing? I just try and constantly improve. So I'm always doing classes. I'm always, reading something. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of photography podcasts.
Okay.
And you're always learning something new.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I love about talking with you, and we've only talked a couple times, and it's been really in passing. One of the things I love just hearing you talk now, and it actually excites me and inspires me, is that it really seems like you truly love what you do, that you have not just a passion. I would almost say it's a conviction that you have in you. Like even just hearing you talk about people taking selfies and certain ways of taking in certain environments that you've been in. Like I can see the passion that's in you and the love that you have for doing that. I think that's really great.
Yeah, the thing I love the most is like making a good photograph and then being able to place it on the wall. Prints, I love prints. It's not just about the electronic screen for me. It's about the print. It's about the print on the wall, waking up in the morning and saying, damn, I like that. I really like that.
That's cool. That's cool.
Really, it's just...
I think, tell me what you think about this. I was talking, kind of going back to the whole selfie conversation. I think that, Facebook, Instagram has certainly promoted the idea of capturing, capturing yourself in a particular place. And so I tell people, if you were to look at my personal Instagram and if you were to look through all my photos, I could tell you stories behind every single photo that I posted. Like it's not just me showing up to a particular place, snapping the photo to get, as though I'm kind of like trying to tag the mark and then head out. Like what I have there is something that actually represents a memory for me, and I think in that way, I think it's those photos are special. Like I've actually found myself, if you look at my personal Instagram, I've posted, like if you look at what it was a couple years ago, I was posting every other day. Now I don't remember the last time I think I posted the other day just because I felt like I have this and I haven't posted anything. So I posted a couple photos of where I'd been. But my point is that I've grown from like just having photos to share on social media to attract attention in that way to actually the personal enjoyment aspect. Like I've got a lot of photos that I just enjoy seeing myself, So making those photos and putting them on on canvas or whatever and putting it up on the wall, I think there's something about that truly represents a genuine artist, someone who really cares about the art and about the place rather than, the applause, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, you get such a satisfaction from looking at something like that and knowing that it's not going anywhere. I mean, nobody can take that away from you unless they just rip it off the wall and burn it or something like that. Yeah. And that's not going to happen unless we start another war. But I digress. But to being able to get what you see in your eye and what you're visualizing, to get it onto a camera and get it into a form where you can then take it, and print it out, have it framed, matted, the whole 9 yards, and then hang it up. It's a tremendous accomplishment.
That's cool. You're the vice president of is it the Olive Hide Guild?
Yes, the Olive Hide Art Guild.
Okay, and you've been a part of that probably for a little while in order to get that.
Yeah, I've been involved with them for a little while now.
Okay. Yeah. What are some of the things that you're excited about doing and in that position, like for the community? Basically,
I would really love to get more young people involved in it. We do a lot of scholarships for the high schools in the area, and also Ohlone College, which is right across the street, and really get more involvement with younger people. Because right now it's really, I have to say, it's mostly older people that are involved with it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure,
but there's so much good art out there, and some of these students, some of the things they're producing is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
just unbelievable stuff. And if I can achieve that, I think I've accomplished a lot.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you expect to do more workshops like you had done?
Oh, we're doing all kinds of stuff. Okay. We're doing workshops and demonstrations and everything else. Yeah, we'll be doing plenty of those.
That's cool. Well,
in fact, I'd like to do a nice little photo walk right here in Niles.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's some great stuff to photograph.
Absolutely, yeah. There's I love coming down here, especially there's certain times of the year where the sun is setting in a particular place and or it's rising in a certain place, and you just for me at least, I take in those moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, and I can see it coming. I'll come out, right at dusk, and I'm like, oh my goodness, 2 more weeks and the sun's going to be right there, and that's going to be really, really awesome. I think even having an eye for that is something that I don't know. There's a sense of appreciation and not sacrifice, but a sense of being able to say, I want to just be there in that moment when that happens.
When it happens, yeah.
And
well, you're planning for it. You know, you're looking at it. Okay, it's going to happen this time and this place, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
when
right.
it happens. That's like the Scripps Pier down in San Diego. At certain times of the year, the sun lines up right underneath the pier. And people flock from all over the place just to get that one picture. You've seen it a million times, but it's like you have it now.
Yeah,
it's an accomplishment. You've been there.
There's a couple of things that you said that kind of wrap up in this particular story. I'm gonna say, but when I used to live in Baltimore, I had a friend of mine tell me how if you're on the Lincoln Memorial. You can, at a certain time of the year, I can't remember if it was July, I think it was July or June, the sun rises. So because of the way that the Washington, D.C. is laid out, you have the Lincoln Memorial, and then you have the Washington Memorial, and then you have the Capitol building, and they're all in a line, and the sun rises right behind them at a particular time of the year. And so he was like, if you go to this place, you can see this and this and this all lined up. And so I was getting ready to move to California. I was like, well, I've got to get this shot before I move out here, so because I don't know that I'll ever get back there to take the shot again. So I went down there early in the morning and waited. It was a beautiful morning. But one of the things that was fascinating, I initially was disappointed because they were doing construction on the Washington Monument. And so they had scaffolding up around the Washington Monument. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe, this is my moment, But then I had somebody tell me, actually, this is a great time because they're probably never going to build that scaffolding up again potentially in your lifetime, this is something that they're hoping to fix something. So you look back at this 30, 40 years from now, you're going to say, I was there. I took a photo at that moment with the scaffolding up around the Washington Monument. I was like, from in that moment, it turned from like a devastating, man, this is the only time I'm going to get it, to like, oh, I captured a really unique moment in time, which is really cool.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that was one of my photography moments that I really enjoyed.
Well, there's one recently in San Francisco, where it comes, I can't remember, right by the trolley, on one of the trolley lines. The sun comes up and then the trolley is right there, and
I think I've seen.
Yeah.
I think I've seen.
And that was
photos.
just recently. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, that's cool. Well,
Yeah.
I love it, man. I've gotten excited. I've actually thought it'd be really cool to try to inspire people to do more photography around the city of Fremont, because I do think there's some really cool places. There's some beautiful vantage points that you can capture images that are just, either breathtaking or just memorable. And I love the fact that you're not only passionate about your own photo taking, but passing it on to the next generation. I just think that's really, really great.
Yeah, well, definitely. I think it's important too.
Yeah.
I really do.
That's cool.
Because not everything stays the same.
That's right.
We all know that. We've all lost jobs somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have any other hobbies that you enjoy that you do around here?
I'm a huge hockey fan.
Okay.
I'm a huge Sharks fan.
Yeah.
So a season ticket holder. So yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm a hockey junkie. I grew up on the East Coast.
I was going to say, what part of the East Coast did you grow up on?
I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely cold enough to have frozen ponds there to skate
I
on.
wanted to play hockey, and my parents wouldn't let me because they didn't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to drive me to practice. It's probably just as well, because I probably would have blown out both knees before I even got to college. So,
Well, I'm glad to meet you, and glad that we have you in town to be able to share
Good to meet you too,
your viewpoint. Yeah, I'm going to get down to the Olive Hide. Do you have? Are you going to have that perfect photo that you've taken or the almost perfect photo of Mission Peak up on display out there at all, or is that at home for you to enjoy?
It's actually on my website.
Okay, so
it's
check
actually
that out.
on my website.
Okay.
Under landscapes.
Okay.
There's another one under there too that has snow on it too, but that's from that's from a different year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to the top of Mission Peak. I think it was 2017 when it had snow on it, and I have a video and some photos that I took up there on the peak.
Yeah, I haven't been
snow.
up there in quite a while. Last time I went up there, I hit the peak, and then 20 feet after the peak, I twisted my ankle, and it took me like 2.5 hours to get down.
Oh my goodness,
it was brutal. So I haven't been up since.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I was just up there last week, and it was. I always forget. It seems a little bit longer every time I go up. So
it's not an easy hike.
Yeah.
More power to people who want to go up there.
That's right.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it once you get up there, but it's definitely not an easy task.
If people wanted to take your photography workshop, where would they find information on that?
Well, we don't have any workshops scheduled right now, so basically, keep an eye on the Olive Hide Gallery website.
Okay.
Which is olivehideartguild.org.
Okay. Well, we'll put it in the show notes so people can find it easily.
Yeah.
And then your website is
scottcapenphotography.com.
Okay.
And I also have my, we didn't talk about this, but my real estate photography is also on capen.net.
Okay.
And actually I have some portrait work on there as well.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. So we'll put all those links in there. Have you done a lot of real estate photography then?
I've photographed probably probably close to 500 houses.
Wow. Do you enjoy that as well?
It's a different beast.
Yeah.
It is. It's a different beast. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And you find some interesting things. I'll show you after podcast.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining me, and it's a pleasure to have you on here. And
thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hope it inspires some people to get out there and take some photos.
I do too. I mean, come out on a photo walk with us.
That'd be great.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
This episode was hosted and produced by Ricky B. I'm Gary Williams. Andrew Cavett is the editor. Rachel Prey is the print editor in charge of our newsletter. Scheduling and pre-interviews by Sarah S. Music provided by Soundstripe.com. You can find everything we make, the podcast, our newsletter, and all of our social media links at thefremontpodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you listen so you don't miss an episode. And if you would, please leave a review on iTunes. Your reviews help other people find this podcast. Join us next week on the Fremont Podcast.
But the biggest thing I took away from Antarctica is the sense of isolation. When you're there, it's...
This is a Muggins Media podcast.